Hi there, boys and girls. Here's another Bible Story Adventure. Say, did you know that some of the most exciting stories in all the world are found in the Bible? That's right. Here's one about a beautiful queen named Esther. Now, the people in this story lived more than 2,000 years ago, but the story's just as true and thrilling as though it happened yesterday. Listen. Once there was a Persian king who chose a beautiful Hebrew captive for his queen. And there was a very wicked man named Haman who was chief over all the king's princes. The people were commanded to bow down to him. But Mordecai, the queen's cousin, refused. This made Haman very angry, and he said to his wife one day, "Who is this Mordecai that he should refuse to obey the king's orders?"
He will never bend his knee to you, my husband.
"And why not?"
"Because he bows only to his God and no one else."
"So, the king should hear about this, and I'll see that he does." The wicked prince hurried to the palace and began to tell the king about the rebellious captives. "There's only one thing to do with such stiff-necked people, O king." "You are right, Haman. They must be punished." "Well, I'll pay 10,000 talents to have them put to death." "Keep your silver, Haman. But because you're so eager to have my laws obeyed..." "Yes, your majesty?" "I'm going to let you punish these people." "I, your majesty?" "Yes, Haman. They are at your mercy. Do with them as pleases you best." Oh, that was just what Haman wanted. Now he could carry out his wicked plans. And so he ordered the Persians to kill every Hebrew they could find. Mordecai heard the news, and he asked Esther to beg the king to save their lives. But she refused. She knew if she went to see the king without being called, she might be put to death. But Mordecai told her that God may have made her queen for that very reason, so she could save her people. Esther thought about it a while, and then she said to the messenger,
"Go back and tell Mordecai and the people of God to pray. I will ask the king to save the Hebrew captives. If he kills me, then I will die gladly for my people."
The queen kept her promise, and soon she was entering the king's court to plead for her people. Her servants wept, for they knew that they might never see their beloved queen again. And Esther looked very pale as she walked toward the king. In a moment, she would know her fate. If the king raised his golden scepter, she would live. If he didn't, she would die. Nearer and nearer to the king's throne she walked, praying at every step that the king would raise his golden scepter and spare her life. But the king looked very stern and didn't move. Then, when she was almost up to the throne, he spoke. "You see, my queen, I raise my scepter."
"Oh, thank you, your majesty. I am very grateful."
"Make your request, Esther. I will grant it, even to giving you half my kingdom." But Esther didn't want half the kingdom. She wanted to save her people. And this was her plan, to invite the king and Haman to a dinner and then make her request. The king quickly agreed to come, and Haman felt very honored to think that he was invited too. But there was still something that bothered Haman. So he said to his wife one day, "Ah, that stubborn Hebrew."
Mordecai still refuses to obey.
"Yeah, he does."
"Hear me then, my husband. We have a plan for you."
"Aha! To that I'll listen gladly."
"This is the plan, my husband. Have a gallows made and ask the king to hang Mordecai on it."
"A gallows?" "Yes, a gallows. Have a gallows made and hang Mordecai on it." Haman built the gallows and thought his troubles with Mordecai would soon be over. But something very strange was happening in the palace. one of the servants was reading to the king about the time Mordecai saved his life. And when the king heard it, he cried out, "Stop! What has been done to repay that man?" "Nothing, O king, nothing." "What? Has such a deed gone unrewarded? Tell me, how shall I wonder who that is." "It must be Haman. He has an appointment with your majesty." So he has. I'd almost forgotten. Well, show him in." Haman felt very happy as he entered the court. He was sure his request to hang Mordecai would be granted. But he didn't know what the king was planning. No, he didn't know what the king was planning. When the king saw Haman, he asked him what should be done for someone who was to be highly honored. Now, Haman was a selfish old prince, always thinking about himself. Of course, he thought the king wanted to honor him, so he said, "O king, let this one you wish to honor wear the royal robes." "Yes." "And the royal crown, and let him ride through the streets on the king's favorite horse." "That is good, Haman." "And let thy servants shout to the people, 'This is the man the king delights to honor.'" "That is very good, Haman." "Now, Haman." "Yes, your majesty, yes." "Go and do all this for Mordecai, the man who saved my life." So the wicked old prince had to do all these wonderful things for the man he hated and wanted to kill. And then, after he had honored Mordecai, he went to the queen's dinner with the king. And as they sat at the table, the king said, "Now, my queen, what is the request you wish to make?"
O king, I beg of you to save my people.
"The Hebrew captives? Why, what danger are they in?"
A very wicked man has plotted against them, O king.
"What is this?"
He will not be satisfied until he has killed them all.
"Who dares to do such a thing in my kingdom?"
Who dares to do it, your majesty? There, O king, there is the wicked enemy.
"You, Haman, my trusted servant." The king was so angry he got up and walked into his garden. And when he came back, he found Haman begging the queen to save his life. And just then one of the servants said to the king, "Hast thou heard, O king, of the gallows Haman built?" "Gallows? Gallows? What for?" "To hang Mordecai, O king." "What? To hang the man who saved my life?" "That is what Haman planned, your majesty." "Hear my orders, then." "Yes, your majesty." "Take Haman this very day and hang him. Let him die on the gallows he built for Mordecai." And so the good Queen Esther, who trusted God, was able to save her people. And the wicked prince who wanted to kill the people of God was put to death on the very gallows he built for someone else. Say, did you like that? Good story, huh? Well, you know, boys and girls, the Bible's full of stories like that. Yes, sir.